I'm Tanisha, and I've been out here since October last year. And I went down to the council, and they told me that they've got too much debt and not enough temporary accommodation to put a 22-year-old girl who's come out of care in housing. So they left me out here, and they don't want me in housing. But Stan helps me every day, so at least I have some angels on the streets.
The night shelter it's always half empty. Yet there's guys sleeping rough. Nothing for the women. And this whole local connections theory, because a lot of these guys out here, the Borough Council will say we're not going to help you because you're not from Northampton. Which is why the night shelters always get to bed. Yeah, but the Borough Council's count is only based on got to be in a sleeping bag in a doorway asleep to be classed as homeless when they come out and do their count. And if you're in a tent, you're not classed as homeless because a tent is classed as accommodation. The numbers went down for a moment. Some of the guys got accommodation. And what's been happening is a few of the girls have been getting seriously ill. Have been admitted to hospital. One nearly died of flu, one nearly died of pneumonia. There's another girl out at the moment. She's still got a catheter fitted and she's been released to the street again. The only way the girls are getting off the street is by getting to hospital first, nearly dying, and then they're coming under different duty of care. So they're putting better breakfast. According to the January Borough Council count, there are only 17 homeless people in Northampton and no women on the street.
Whether or not the number of people rough sleeping has increased depends on who you talk to in the town. If you talk to the charitable sector, they would say that yes, it has increased. If you talk to the local authority, they'd say that actually this number is going down. I think what we have had in Northampton since the night shelter opened is a reduction in the number of people rough sleeping because there has been a resource for people to sleep inside. But I think what has happened, as well as a little increase, is that the people who are rough sleeping in the town centre are in a more serious situation than perhaps the people in the night shelter are. That means they are people who suffer with alcoholism or drug abuse and so don't get to go to the night shelter because they have a rule that they won't admit people who aren't sober. So it means that the issue of numbers isn't perhaps the most acute or pressing issue. The issue is that actually people who are on the streets are that much harder to get at and have problems that are that much harder to solve.
Definitely an increase in homelessness in Northampton. And it's not just here, it's across the country. And it's a very worrying thing for councillors such as myself who get contacted daily, virtually, for people who desperately need homes. This, to me, is a real problem because there's 180,000 people at the moment homeless in this country. Some are living in temporary accommodation. A lot of those are children. And there's provision for people with children, but not for single women or single men. And that's the biggest problem. There's always room for improvement. And I think it's not just the council, it's the government as well that needs to bring in legislation to prevent people becoming homeless in the first place. Prevention is better than cure.
We haven't actually ever had to turn people away because of overcrowding. We haven't had to do that yet. People are only rejected really if as I say, if on our assessment they're going to be a danger. For example, anyone who's been convicted of arson, we couldn't possibly let into the building for fear of whatever. But it extends beyond that. I mean, if they're known to be a drug dealer, for example, or to we can't have them coming on the premises and, for want of a better word, corrupting what we're trying to achieve with the other guys. We risk assess them, let's say that. We risk assess them to establish that they're not going to be a danger to the people already there. We don't expect them to have drugs on them or alcohol on them. We rely on their confidence in that. We don't actually pat down search them when they come through the doors, but we tell them that that's a requirement, and if they're discovered to have brought drugs or something on the premises, we usually end up moving them out. Not permanently necessarily, because some of them it's just a lesson learned, and it's possible that we say, I'm sorry, we can't let you in for a couple of weeks, but if you reapply in a couple of weeks and you're clean and you're not going to make this mistake again, we'll probably let you in. And the other big issue, it seems to be amongst our critics, is the fact that we only have people with a Northampton connection. But I seriously believe, I understand how charity works and the need to help everybody, but you know, it's being funded by ratepayers' money, and I'm sure the people in Northampton would want us to deal with the needs of people who come from Northampton first.
I've been homeless for quite a while.
Lose track of time, don't you, Judge?
Yeah, it happens, man.
Yeah.
It happens, man.
A day becomes a month, becomes a year.
Yeah, it happens, man.
They deal with what they can see on the surface. Their target will be someone's addiction, or their target will be someone's physical need, or how they perceive that need to be. What they don't understand a lot of the time is that until you can source the real heart reason for why somebody is where they are, or why they've made the choices they've made. Because a lot of it revolves around pain of some kind. It could be a bereavement, it could be abuse, it could be anything that puts them where they start, and then the addictions come on top of that to hide that pain. You can't just take away or work with the addiction or expect somebody to stop the drink or to change the physical life until you've dealt with the pain inside first. It's like ripping the stitches off of a wound. You're taking away the only thing that's holding them together, and they're just going to fall apart. They can't deal with it. The idea behind it is to show that being homeless gives you a sense of being trapped, a sense of being vulnerable, but also a sense of being a spectacle to everybody around you. And it's a situation that by yourself you can't always get out of. So that was the purpose of doing it this way round. I believe that every person has value and they have self-worth, and when you take somebody a cup of tea in the morning, or you take them some breakfast, or you just sit with them and have a chat with them where they're at, then what you're saying to them is that they're worth it. And if someone can feel that they're worth something and they can feel they have value, it enables them to reach higher, to achieve more in their life. So it's rather than just seeing themselves as other people portray them to be.